Hello and welcome to Wildlife Reefers. I'm Scott Anderson, and I was given a great idea for a video the other day. Actually, you know what? It was about 2 months ago. I'm just kind of that far behind in making videos. And I believe it was Merritt McDowell who came up with this idea, and I think it's really good. And forgive me, Merritt, if it wasn't you or if I screwed up your name, but it's been about 2 months, and to be honest, I can't find the comment. But the idea was, he wanted me to go over all the equipment on my tank, how much it costs, and whether I would do it again. So I think this is a great idea. There is one caveat. There's one person out there that should not be watching this video, and that's my wife. In no way does she need to know how much all this stuff costs. So baby, if you're watching it, just go ahead and stop now, please. You don't want to know. I swear, you don't want to know. Anyways, for the rest of you, let's go ahead and see what equipment I like, what I don't like, and how much it all costs. Alright, so the very first and biggest piece is the aquarium itself. The aquarium is an all-glass 210-gallon aquarium. And it's perfect for my taste. Obviously, it's about the least expensive aquarium this size you're going to get. But it's the right form factor for me. The glass is what I want. It's not acrylic. It doesn't scratch. So it works for me. There's so many acrylic and custom options that you can argue are better. But this fits the spot, and it was the right price. So definitely $1,000 for this tank does the job for me. I also could have bought a used one. There were several locally available. But this is going in a prominent position in my house. And I plan on being in this house indefinitely. To be honest, I never planned to move. So I wanted a brand new tank that can last me a lifetime. And then above it are my lights. My lights are 3 Giesman Tesla LEDs that I purchased from Bulk Reef Supply during their Black Friday blowout sale a couple years ago now. And each one of those lights is $250 a piece. I've got 3 of them, so we're $750 for all 3. They're a mix of blue, royal blue, and white, so it's not the best lighting spectrum you can buy. But they put out plenty of good light. The coloration's good. The adjustability on them completely sucks. But for me, for my application, my price range, they're doing the job. So yeah, I do them again, and they're working out just fine. The frame I made out of steel, and that frame cost me about 40 bucks to make. And it bent a little and it twisted a little, and it's not quite perfect for this application. It worked really good on a 4-foot tank. 6-foot tank, it's not quite sturdy enough. But for now, it's working. I've got it suspended from the ceiling with straps. And this whole suspension thing looks kind of ugly, but again, this is temporary. Long term, this is going to be a built-in, and I hope to start that in about August. But the frame I got 40 bucks in, straps I got 20 bucks in, so there's another 60 bucks. To blow water around the tank, I'm running a pair of Jibo RW20s. And I really like these pumps. The only problem is the RW20s are too powerful for this tank. They are just insanely powerful. So I can't even run all of the settings because it just blows the coral around too much. So these guys were 180 bucks. I probably would have saved a few bucks and gone for the RW15s. Sorry for the bad film quality here, but it's just the lighting. I also run a JBJ digital thermometer, and this guy's 8 bucks, and this is a tank saver. It's up where I can see it every day, and that way, if my tank thermometer or tank heater fails on, I catch it right away. I'm also running a Tunzi Care Magnet. This thing was 30 bucks, and this thing's amazing. Definitely, if you're looking for a tank magnet, the Tunzi Care Magnet is the way to go. The stand is just made out of 2x4s, 2x6s, and black paint. I've probably got all of 50, 60 bucks in it, and there is a bit of styrofoam separating the plywood from the tank. Like I said, full stand build's about 60 bucks. Now there will be doors, cladding on there eventually, but I haven't started that project yet. The QT setup is just an old 29-gallon tank, a light off my 55-gallon tank, an Eheim Jagger heater, a couple MaxiJet 120 power heads, and an AquaSea Remora protein skimmer, and some sand. Now, I had everything here laying around except for the sand and the plumbing. So to put this system together cost me about 50 bucks. All I do, sand, plumbing, I was in. If you wanted to duplicate this system, it would probably cost closer to like 350 or 400 bucks. So take that for what it's worth. For RO water, I'm using the Bulk Reef Supply Budget RO-DI system. And as you can see, I need to change out some filters and DI resin. And as you can see, DI resin's right here, ready to go. This system has the 150 gallon per day upgrade on it, and it works flawlessly. And I can tell you, in my own testing, it will absolutely do 150 gallons per day. It puts out clean water. Replacement parts are cheap for it. So I really like this with the 150 gallon per day upgrade. This thing's pushing $250. I don't remember the exact cost, but with everything, it's pretty close to that. So then all of that feeds to a couple of tanks with valves, and that's for RO storage and saltwater mixing, and each one of those tanks is about 50 bucks a piece. So there's another $100 for the two of them. So my sheep tanks I purchased years ago. Total cost of sheep tanks and everything was about $200. You can see all the lights underneath there. I got those dirt cheap years ago. I couldn't even guess what they cost. I don't exactly remember how I came by them. But it's all cheap. So tanks, 200 bucks. All that stuff there is nearly free. And plumbing. Eventually I will get those fully set up for frag tanks. This Panworld 200 PS pump is the main pump that runs my entire system. It runs my biopellet reactor, it runs my protein skimmer, it feeds the tank upstairs. It does about everything. And this is about $280. It's been a fantastic pump, flawless, and I would absolutely do it again. The only thing I might do different is actually go for the next size up. My biopellet reactor is a DIY unit. So the only real cost I have in this is a little bit of plumbing and the biopellets. Biopellets are about 50 bucks. I probably got $20 max in plumbing. So let's call this 70 bucks for me. The protein skimmer is an AquaSea EV1000. And this skimmer has worked great for me. The only thing I would do different is I need a bigger pump to really feed it 100% effectively. Beyond that, I love AquaSea skimmers, and at 200 bucks, I would definitely do this guy again. The heater on this tank is an old Via Aqua, and it works brilliantly. I've had two of the newer style digital Via Aquas on there, and they both failed on the on position, so I would never recommend any of the new stuff to anybody. But this old one I bought 8 years ago, something like that, still working, still holds perfect temp, and it was $60, I think. And then I also have another heater in here because it actually takes two 300-watt heaters to do this, and it's a glass thing, cheap thing I bought from Petco because I needed a heater today, and I think it was about a $50 heater, and it's okay. If I had it to do over again, I guess I probably would, because, you know, it's the one they had in stock the day I had to have it. The calcium reactor is a Coral Life I don't even remember the model number on it, but it's a Coral Life calcium reactor. It was about $180. And you know what? For the price and the size of this calcium reactor, I would definitely do it again. I've had lots of minor issues with it, but no big issues. So, for its cost, I would definitely do it again. The regulator's a Milwaukee unit, and then I've got a pH controller, which is also a Milwaukee unit, and I don't remember the exact cost, but I know by the time I paid for the calcium reactor, the controller, the regulator, and calcium media, I was about $425 into everything. So calcium reactors are definitely not cheap, but I definitely love it. And then I'm running the bulk Reef supply GFO and carbon reactor, and this thing's worked pretty well. As you can see, it's that time of the month again where I need to change out my GFO. It's gonna quit tumbling and frozen up. That's actually the downside to the GFO. As it runs for a while, the foam pad beneath it kind of clogs up and you lose flow through it. So unless you're paying attention and constantly adjusting it, it does stop turning. But for what it does, and for the, I don't remember what it was, $80 I paid for it, something like that, it's done a great job. And actually this little reactor is maintaining phosphate and carbon issues in my tank. So I don't have smelly water, and I never can get a phosphate reading on my phosphate test kit. So it's doing the job. So definitely I'd do this again. So then there's a whole bunch of other smaller things that are pretty hard to add up. Like all the plumbing and electrical equipment, all that kind of stuff I've had to buy for this tank. I'm probably pushing $500 in plumbing to do all this, and that's really a guesstimate. Plumbing's much more expensive than you think it is. You go look at these little 90s and elbows and all that kind of stuff, and they're like 45 cents. Well, they're 45 cents times 100, and it gets expensive, believe me. Plumbing's expensive, and then I got electrical outlets that cost money. Not so much the outlets, but the power strips and everything else that has to happen. And of course, electricity. Big tanks, they just use so much power. It's unbelievable. And then of course, there's all the test kits and fish food and just everything that it takes to keep a reef tank. And some of this is just difficult to throw a price on. But I can definitely tell you, once you add in the test kits and your dosing supplements and everything you're going to need, you can easily throw another $500 onto a big tank. So I sat down and I added everything up, and it was a little hard to know what I should keep, what I shouldn't keep, but I basically came up with a number of roughly $4,800. And we haven't even put salt in the tank yet. That number is just equipment, no livestock. So my next video is going to be the livestock. How much do the fish cost? How much do the rock cost? How much does the sand cost? How much does a cleanup crew cost? So that's next. If you want to see that video, make sure you're subbed to my channel so you're sure to get it. And if you like what I do, hit that like button. Thanks for watching this episode of Mile High Reefers, and I'll see you on the next one.